I've been asked a few times if I talk a little bit about how I got going in Blender, and there's really not that much of a story to tell, but I will say that around 1994, about 26, 27 years ago, um, I was a full-time science teacher at a high school, so I didn't have a lot of time, but in my spare time, I started messing around in 3D with sort of early-ish 3D programs, and I think the first one I used was called Bryce 3D. And in that program or software, there was very little modeling that you could do. There was some primitives you could bring in, and you could grab some terrain, and I think you could modify it a little bit. You can make these mountains and streams, and the water looked really nice. So we did a lot of renders with just like a shiny metal sphere over the water, and it was just, it was something fun to play with. And then along came Poser. You had these human-like figures, and you could change their clothes and their positions and pose them. And so that was kind of fun for a while. And then along came Lightwave 3D, and there was a little bit more serious modeling. And so I would, make the simple, spaceship or whatever I could in my spare time, and watch tutorials and stuff. And of course, this is all bought software, and so it was hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But I did it just for fun. And then while I was teaching, I used to go down to the computer room, visit other teachers and other classes when I had a period off, and I wanted to roam around the school. And some high school students were using Blender. It was like very, very early releases. And they said, hey, well, there's some free 3D software. And so I, went home and I downloaded it, and I remember opening Blender, and I was kind of used to Lightwave at this point, and I didn't know where to start really with Blender. I didn't give it a fair trial. I just basically opened it, looked at it, and said, I'm not going to have a clue, and I'm not going to have the time for this. And so I closed it back up. And then I think it was probably around 10 years ago, I decided to give it another try, and it was better. And I just played around with it at home when I had some time off of teaching, which is really a never-ending job because of the marking and the courses, extra courses you're taking in the summer and stuff. And so I started messing around with Blender just for fun. I was probably really, at that point, more into Flash and creating animations and little quizzes and games for a science website that I had, where students could take a quiz, and or they could move a character around and run into a block, and then a question would pop up, and if you answered correctly, you moved on to the next phase, and if not, maybe a monster came out and shot you or something. So I was really interested in Flash, and so I was trying to create some 3D graphics I could integrate into those little Flash games. And then, as I guess Flash started to die off. Of course, that's more recently, last few years. But in the last 5 years, I started to get more interested in Blender, and I still didn't have that much time as a teacher. But I would play around with it for fun. And I think probably being a teacher made me want to document my journey in Blender very early on. So I think my first videos, and I didn't call them tutorials for a long time. It was just me modeling, and sometimes not even doing materials. And so I think I did stuff like pencils or crayons, and I did baby bottles because then I started having kids, and so I started modeling that stuff, and I just I made videos along the way showing people how I did this or that. I made lots of mistakes. I did stuff wrong, and I did stuff crazy ways. But it was an interesting journey, because you would look at an object in the real world. Let's say it was a baby bottle or something, and you'd say, how am I going to achieve this shape, this structure, this cutaway? And so it was a learning process. And of course, I visited tutorials on YouTube, and everybody watched Blender Guru for a long time, and all the other ones. And as the years continued, I just continued to make videos of how I was doing this or how I was doing that for anybody that wanted to see. I never considered myself a Blender teacher. I never considered myself very good, and I still don't to this day. I always call myself sort of an advanced beginner, and that's why my channel right now is separated into, well, of course, we've got the Blender Challenges, which is a more recent thing, but we've got beginner tutorials and advanced beginner tutorials, and that's about it. I do call them tutorials now, I guess, because enough people are coming by and considering what I'm doing to be teaching. But really, it's just me working away and hoping that, if I do something, I might inspire people. I don't really think that I'm teaching that much techniques and methods and stuff like that. I think what I'm trying to do more is fill a void where I sometimes feel there's a lack of stuff. So, for example, in the sci-fi modeling, the really good artists, of course, are trying to make money or make a living at it. And they sell their stuff, or maybe they do a time lapse, because to do a complicated model takes a lot of time, and who's gonna watch hours and hours of modeling? And so a lot of times they'll just speed it up and say, here's how I go from point A to point B, and there's my finished thing, all in the space of 5-minute time lapse. So I decided that as I looked around for sci-fi stuff, in particular sci-fi stuff, I couldn't find sometimes a lot of what I wanted, like, let's make a cryogenic chamber, or let's make a science lab, or something like that. And so I said, well, I'm going to do that then. And I may not do it that well, but I'm just going to do what I can. And so that's what I've been doing. And now, we're into Blender, I don't know, 3. I haven't updated yet. I will soon, perhaps. But I had a lot of trouble going from 2.79 to 2.8. Everything was working in 2.79. I did not want to upgrade, and people kept saying to me, when are you going to move on? And I'm like, if it's not broken, I don't want to take a chance. Just like Windows 11 is now out, and people are saying, are you going to upgrade to Windows 11? And I don't want to take a chance. So, anyways, I will update as time goes on, but yeah, I've been doing the modeling now, and if you look behind me, you can see that it's dark, and I don't have a lot of lights on, and I'm not talking too loud because my kids are sleeping, and it's after 2 in the morning, and that's when I do my modeling. It's the only chance I have to do this. I do it gladly for you to watch what I'm doing, and I open myself up for criticism based on my topology of modeling and my booleans and this and that, and that's okay. It's all part of it. I'm used to people poking fun at me or whatever. I don't care. I do it for fun, and I really do enjoy it, and I do appreciate you guys coming by and watching what I do. Again, like I say, I hope it's for inspiration. The odd little technique, but I'm not. I don't have the time to learn a bunch of new things. It's just rehashing the stuff that I already know. Maybe once in a while I'll accidentally discover something new, or I'll see something and I'll try it out. But for me, I want to have fun. I want to model cool things that I like, whether it's an isometric thing or a treasure chest or some sci-fi thing. I just want to do that for fun, and to fill in some gaps that I sometimes see, so that if you want to come by and get some inspiration and some encouragement, or you want to share your stuff on the Discord, or you want to write to me, I'll encourage you. I mean, that's what I did as a teacher for 25 years, and that's what I feel I'm here to do. All right, so that's my little story. I continue to work in Blender when I can, and still enjoying it very much. All right, so I hope you are too. Good luck. Take care.